You have a very, very strong resume, a very strong career background. And I know you've talked about it, it hasn't been easy, but I'm very curious. Can you walk me through a little bit? You've been at Tesla, Merrill Lynch, now you're at Coinbase. Some people might say that's a very non-linear career due to the different industries that you worked in. But can you walk me through a little bit about, your journey getting now into crypto based on your background?
Yeah, of course. And thank you again for the invitation. It's really
Yeah.
nice to be here with you. Yeah, well, actually, that's not even like half of what I've done in my life.
Yeah.
So yeah, not linear at all, like at all. Like I am a former civil engineer.
Mm,
That's like my first degree. Then I worked in the entertainment industry in Colombia for almost 10 years. So I was an actress. I was writing for
mm,
TV and for film, and I had to come here, and there are a lot of reasons why. I don't want to get into much detail of that, but I ended up in the States, and always very passionate about sustainable energy. um, like the lack of opportunities or tools for Latinos or even for people in general is also something that is in the back of my mind all the time. So when I came here, I had the opportunity that was my first job in the US, was working for Tesla.
mm.
I was first in the solar side of the company, then I was transferred to the cars. And it was just like an amazing experience because I learned so much about the culture here. I got to see people from every kind of background,
Mhm.
and thankfully I was able to, I learned pretty fast. That's
Yeah.
probably one of my advantages that I will
Yeah.
say. So I moved really quick and I was doing really well, but I was like feeling this, lack of fulfillment with what I was doing. Like it kind of became a routine at some point, and I was thinking like, well, I really want to work more like in the financial industry. And the reason for that is because all of these clients that I had at Tesla, many of them, even, well, like when I was doing solar, right, were like Latinos and had zero idea about how to like purchase a car, how to how the financing works, and like the credit scores, and that they didn't qualify, or I just saw a lot of people spending more than they should.
Mhm.
Sometimes I like, well, why you are doing this, right?
Yeah.
And one of those clients actually used to work in the wealth management industry, and he said to me like, well, you should like try this.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like everything at the same time, and I'm like, okay, yeah, like I love to learn new things. So I moved, I went into Merrill Lynch. I actually like looked for the job on my own. It wasn't like a referral of something.
Mm.
I was like applying on my own, and I went through the interview process with them, and like quickly I started to study for all of the certifications. So the traditional finance industry is very strict and it's heavily regulated.
Mhm.
So I had to get first like all of these certifications, etc.
Mhm.
And after that, I started to work with some teams inside the company, also as a sole practitioner. So I had my own clients. The pandemic hit, and that's when I became even more interested in Bitcoin again,
Mhm.
because that
Mhm.
was part of my past.
Okay.
And I think I mentioned sometimes to some people that always ask me, and I'm like, it's a long story, but when I was in Colombia, like I had a presentation about cryptocurrencies when I was doing my bachelor's in business administration. That
Oh,
was like
wow.
my second thing, right?
Yeah.
And it was like in 2014 or 15. I kind of don't even remember.
Mhm.
But what I remember is that everyone was looking at me like she's crazy. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that doesn't have any viability, right?
Yeah.
And I've been an entrepreneur since I was little. Like, I
Mhm.
have always worked.
Yeah.
So I had my own e-commerce site, and it was like electronic payments, right? So I was like, well, I feel like this is gonna be a thing. Like I didn't have the full conviction or understanding of how big it could be. But for me, it was just natural, right? Like I was like, well, we are already doing e-commerce. We are already like doing so many transactions online. What is natural is that we have this type of currency in the future. And like I was, like wowed by the technology of blockchain and all of that. And I'm like, I mean, this is gonna be a thing, but I had to forget about it because it was really difficult, especially in our countries. Like, oh, how do you even get one? Like I was trying to find how to buy, and it was impossible. And then people were like, no, but like you have to mine and you have to like get a rig up, and okay, I'm done. That's too much for me. Like I should have done it when I look back.
Of course, yeah.
But that's how it happened. So I kind of forgot about it. I had it always there, but I was like, with all of these difficulties, I never looked back. And at the moment that the pandemic hit, and even getting more immersed in the financial industry, it was just so sad for me to see many people that didn't have access to investing and didn't know how to do it. There is a lot of, there is just lack of education, even from starters. And like in the US, you even have more tools than we have in our countries if we want to invest in something, right? But yeah, so I was like, I want to look into fintech. And I started to look around, and that's how I found Coinbase. And like the mission of the company just resonated so much with me. I knew someone that was working for Coinbase, and he was coming from Tesla too. So I said to him, like, hey, that's cool. Like, he had been with the company for 3 months, and I was reaching out just to see if there was something. And he said, like, hey, I am actually starting my team in listings. Like, check it out. And if you like it, like, I can refer you. And then I started the whole process. So,
nice.